What's happening, guys? This is William Craddock with Will to Win Gaming, and today I have for you the Emporio Ivankov Primer and Deck Tech. Let's kick it off. First, this is my list. Got this nice picture for you. First, we're going to start with for Buggy. He is the new card in Paramount War, and he is an Impel Down Searcher. His main purpose for this deck is to find your two combo pieces, the Emporio Ivankov SR and the brand new Monkey D. Luffy SR. We'll get to those a little later, but for the start, for Buggy. Then we have for Trafalgar Law. He's a one-drop blocker, not much to say about it. This deck has a ton of blockers, and he's just one of the best in the game because he simply costs 1 Dawn. Next, we'll move on to my first tech choice for Pirona. The reason I play for Pirona is to increase the number of times you can find your combo pieces down here. It lets you search the top 5 cards of your deck, and if you don't have your Imperio, you don't have your Luffy, you can put them on bottom, and that way you know at least your top 5 aren't dead and you can still draw in your combo pieces. So that's why for Pirona. Next, moving on, we have Mr. Bond 2. He is a 2K counter, not much else in this deck. There's no tech choices around him, there's nothing special. He is simply a 2K counter to help generate tempo and keep your big threats alive, of which there aren't very many. Next, we have 4 of the 3-drop Don Quixote, Don Flamingo blocker. He has the same function as Pirona with the added bonus of being a blocker. You look at the top 5 of your deck. If you don't see any of your necessary combo pieces, you can put them on the bottom. That's why you always want to run 4 of him, just because his effect is so powerful, and on top of that, he's a blocker unlike Pirona. All right, next we have Mr. 3. He is a 4-cost blocker, 5K, has an incredibly interesting effect. At the end of the turn, if he is rested, you can trash 1 card from your hand to stand him. This has a lot of synergies with our leader ability. If that's the last card in our hand, we'll draw 2 off our Imperio leader ability. So he can attack and play defense, and there hasn't been a lot of cards like that. The mid kid comes to mind, the 7-drop starter deck kid. So while I don't think he's quite as strong, his effect is very similar, and I think he will be a potent threat down the line if you can play him correctly. Next, we have another strong blocker out of Paramount War, Inazuma. He's a 4-cost, 5K, which already a pretty decent stat line, but his added effect, if you have 1 or less cards in hand, he gets plus 2K power, making him a 7K. And he is interesting simply because his effect works on both turns, whereas a lot of the similar effects we've seen thus far, where they get some kind of power bonus, only works on your turn or your opponent's turn, but his is symmetrical, making him an efficient attacker or a powerful blocker. Next, we have for Draco Mihawk. He serves somewhat the same function as Mr. 2's. He's a 2K counter, but he can be played as a card himself. It lets you filter your hand a little bit. Maybe you really can't find any of your Don Quixotes, your Pironas, and you need your combo pieces on curve. So he's not only a 2K counter, he has some function, but most of the time I recommend keeping him in your hand for that plus 2K counter purpose. Moving on, we have the 5-drop Mr. Bond 2. Again, a 2K counter. You can play it in a pinch, but most of the time I think he's just going to stay in your hand. His effect isn't that great, unlike Mihawk, so just having another 2K counter, very defensive deck. Most things do have counters, and that synergizes well with the leader ability. We'll talk about that more in a second. Next, we have our 5-cost Crocodile, our vanilla 7K for 5. He's fine as a vanilla 7K for 5. He has a counter ability. Not much to say about him. He can come into play off Imperio's ability, but most of the time you're going to be just looking for your Luffy's. But in a pinch, you still get a 7K for 7 and a 5K for free. So you don't want to really cut Crocodile. He kind of just fits into the deck nicely. Next, let's move on to the combo pieces of the deck. These are just kind of the bread and butter, and that's why everything in the deck is so set up around them. The combo is playing your Emporio Ivankov and then playing your Monkey D. Luffy from Impel Down afterwards, possibly using to bounce something to your opponent's hand or return something to your opponent's hand. This combo, the synergy, is incredibly potent. I think this is about as true as a combo deck we have currently in One Piece, because you're getting 13 Dawn worth of characters for only 7 and possibly drawing additional cards. So this is incredibly powerful. It synergizes well with your leader ability, trash cards, return something. Yeah, I think this is the whole linchpin of the deck, and everything else should just be played to support it. Finally, we'll finish off the last 2 Flux slots with Draco Mihawk. You don't want too many things that can't be used as counters because they might be dead space in your hand. You want to be able to counter early and often to kind of filter your bad cards, or not necessarily your bad cards, or your tech cards to reach your combo pieces. So that's why I only run 2 Mihawk. I will say that if you can combo Imperio, Luffy, and next turn play Mihawk, it's incredibly powerful. But most of the time, you just want to stick with 2, and I think any more will just kind of clog up your deck. Looking at the deck as a whole, I think Imperio is a large improvement over Daffy. I believe Daffy attempted to be a tempo deck, but did it very poorly. I think Imperio is tempo at its finest with a combo engine, one of the first of its kind in One Piece. You just get so much value off playing these 2 cards. And I think with proper application, just discarding early or sequencing correctly to search for your combo pieces, you will most of the time be able to reach this 2-card combo on turns 4 and 5, which is on curve, depending if you're on the play or on the draw. Sometimes you may not be able to. You might have your Emporios at the bottom, and that, while that's unfortunate, I do not believe that discounts this incredibly powerful deck. And I think this could be an S-tier sleeper, something that your opponents know exists, but I do think it's better than Daffy in the sense that this deck could actually win tournaments, which I don't believe Daffy was capable of doing that. All right, guys, that's my Imperio video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be doing a lot of playtesting, a lot of games with my teammate Tyler Green. This deck is incredible. It's been performing. This list especially, I've found to be just very tight. It's just runs like a top. Just kind of have to see it in action. So I hope to see y'all next time when we got some gameplay out there. See ya. Let's get to it. Can't put that on.